Good morning, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. As promised in the clothing video that I did a couple of days ago, I'm going to share with you how to put together your own sewing kit. And this is for non-sewers and sewers alike. Here's a peek at my sewing room, and my pegboard is getting ready to be completely emptied and overhauled. I need to get my stuff organized now that I'm retired and get back to sewing. But this is my sewing box that I created about 25 years ago. It is an old cheese box, a wooden cheese box, and I've covered it with copies of photographs of me and my parents, grandparents, and I just used Mod Podge and cut those pictures out. And then the inside, I lined it and hot glued it down with some really pretty tapestry material. I've got that ruler stuck with Velcro that can be easily removed. And on the inside of my sewing box, I also covered it with that beautiful tapestry fabric. And along the edges, I sewed on elastic and little pockets to hold things. But I've been using this off and on for the past 25 years, and I just thought I'd share with you some of the things that I have in my own sewing kit. So first of all, of course, you have to have buttons, extra buttons. So I've got a little container full of loose buttons, and then pins. Now these are safety pins, and they're very important for sewers and non-sewers. So I always have a nice collection of safety pins. And the next thing in my box is a pin cushion, and this one is kind of ratty looking, but that was the last thing that my grandmother gave me before she passed away, and she made this pin cushion, so it's very dear to my heart. And then of course I have threads, and they're being held on by a piece of elastic that I sewed on before I glued it into the cheese box. But it holds my thread. And I have multicolors, the main colors that I use the most. I have some sewing machine oil in there. Of course, you've got to have hand needles, so if you're going to have a sewing kit, please make sure you got several packs of hand needles, assorted sizes. Elastic is always good. Also, I have a rotary cutter because I like to do some quilting too, so this makes cutting fabric easy. On your mat, you just run the blade down the fabric and cut out a lot at one time. So if you don't have a rotary cutter, that would be a good idea to put in your sewing kit. I also have a pack of sewing machine needles I just picked up the other day. Hobby Lobby had these for half price, so instead of $7, I got them for $3.50. I've got these clamps that are great for sewing to hold fabric down. I use those in my handbag making. And then I have my blades, so I know right where they are, that go to the rotary cutter. You always want a sharp blade. And this little strawberry is a needle sharpener. I've had this forever, and you just poke your needles or your pins and it will sharpen them. So that's a good idea to have one of those in your kit. You need a couple of pair of scissors, a small pair and a big pair. And I have embroidery thread because there are times when I need to make a little patch. You can add a little flower or something. Always put a seam ripper in your sewing box. This is gold for getting those seams undone. So make sure you have a seam ripper. And then I have some hook and eyes that I can use to repair clothes with if I need to. I want to add a little measuring tape and some patches in here. I'm making up a list of more things that I want to add to my sewing box. But this is basically how I did mine. Of course, it's kind of big and elaborate, and I guess I'll leave it to my only granddaughter, Miss Haley, when I pass on. But anyway, this is my sewing box. And all along the sides, I have pictures of my kids when they were babies and when they're little. And it just turned out really good, and I've really enjoyed using it. If you can find a cheese box anywhere around, I haven't seen one in years, I would pick those up. There's my babies. They're all grown up now, and they have their own kids. But anyway, this was something that I really enjoyed making, and I still enjoy using it. But now that might not be for everybody, so there's some other options that you can choose. If you go to Michael's or any craft store, they do have these beautiful boxes now with nice Velcro tabs to hold everything in place. This holds all my sewing machine supplies, my bobbins and foots that go to my sewing machine, and so I keep all of that in there. That's a nice idea. Or if you just want a simple sewing kit, you can go to the Dollar Tree and pick up one of these little containers and just fill it with basic items, which are needles, buttons, pins, and thread and scissors. So I would highly recommend that you have a little sewing kit in your home so that you can make those repairs on any clothing or even other things in your home besides clothing. But this is a little square I've put together for my granddaughter Miss Haley to practice on, and this could be good for anybody that doesn't know how to sew. And it's basically just practicing stitches. So this is just a straight hand stitch that she can learn, and I've left her plenty of room to make several rows until she gets the hang of it. But this would be perfect for anybody wanting to learn how to hand sew. And then another row is going to be for sewing on buttons, and you can practice that. A lot of people have no idea how to sew on a button, and that's a great way to practice. And then my last one is how to hem with a very simple stitch. And I chose the black thread so that you can see what you're doing. So the next time my granddaughter comes over, I'm going to pull this out for her to let her practice. So that's an idea. So hopefully all these ideas will help you come up with your own sewing kit. I love to sew. My mom taught me how to sew. And now that I'm retired, I'm really going to get back into it full time. So stay tuned, stick around, and see what all is going to be coming out of Mimi's Sewing Room soon. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a like and leave me a comment below of things that maybe you like in your sewing kit. Thanks so much for watching. I hope everyone has a very safe and blessed day. And thank you for all my new subscribers. So glad you're here in the family.